Speaking of West Coast, I want to hit this first. We talk a lot about Agenda 21 of UNESCO. Now, that's a treaty the UN cooked up in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro. George Herbert Walker Bush was there, and he said that we were going to ratify it even if Congress basically wouldn't. There's the headline: Obama, planet will boil over if young Africans are allowed cars, air conditioning, big houses. So we'll cue that up and actually play that in a minute. But this issue is so big because California, in the last 40 years, has not allowed the construction, I have the article right here, of one reservoir. Now, in the last 30-plus years, they've gone from roughly 15 million people to 36 million people last time I checked. I'm going from memory, teleprompter free. Guys, will you search engine California population? But I know it's gone from 15 million or less to 35 plus, 30, I think it's 37 million. Is it 38 million now? Oh, boom, 38.8 million. So it's almost 39 million people. That's more than doubled their population since, yep, there you go, the 1970s. So it's doubled since the 1970s or more, and they haven't built one stinking reservoir. You know, here in Texas, when they build a big city or they're about to expand one, they get on the news and say, we project that Austin will need 5 reservoirs of such and such size by 2040, or we're going to have water shortages. And guess what they're doing? They're building reservoirs. I'm not defending the Lower Colorado River Authority. They're certainly a corrupt organization from my experience. But compared to the California groups, here's an example of, and I'm going to walk through how this is Agenda 21 on a state level. They want artificial scarcity to gouge you. Remember what happened in 2000? Enron got caught some days making $1 billion a day, gouging with the smart meter hubs at the local level, not the individual level, but they had, quote, smart hubs at the switcher level inside the cities so they could game the price of the energy, claiming it was bought on an open trading system, but they were really engaged in fraud and would have members of Congress sit in the legislature in to show them the energy trading going on, but it was all fake. It was pre-programmed at the local level to gouge you the prices, a felony every time they did it. And the Enron documents came out. You want to know the big secret about the California drought? Here it is. If everybody in California wants to stop it, I'll tell you right now. They were having meetings in 98, 99, and 2000 with different state officials to go along with it secretly, and this all came out. Schwarzenegger was in on one of the meetings before he was even governor, on how to game the electricity. And they said, we found in studies in third world countries, if we have some rolling blackouts that we control, and we'll admit we're doing it, it'll create the perception of artificial scarcity, and then we can double or triple prices. And that's exactly what Enron did, some days making $1 billion a day, scamming the daylights out of the Californians. And there's 2 types of Californians: super wealthy and aware of what's going on, and the general public that does not know which end is up and obsesses over race all day. That's it, for my experience. CBS News. California water authorities to use new tool, that's the headline, in fight against water wasters. And they said, oh, they could only go off tattletales before and say that you could only go, a couple times a week, 45 minutes. But that was before the smart meter. Dun, dun, dun. You hear that word. That means little robot tracking everything you do and gouging you. It collects data every 5 minutes. Then after midnight, the cell phones that's built in there comes on, makes one call, and calls into the database that we and the customer, through a password security system, have online access to their consumption. The accuracy is just incredible. Oh, see, it matters that it's accurate. And see, it's fair because we're only going to charge the biggest wasters. And that's how it always starts, and then it's everybody. The accuracy is just incredible because we get the data the next day. Waitier knew the exact amount and precise moment to send his employees to videotape the infractions to use as evidence. We are using it specifically for an enforcement tool. Pre-set surveillance of all the water you use to send, not meter maids, not the normal meter maid, in Austin within 2 minutes. Within 2 minutes, they'll give you a ticket downtown if your meter runs out. Well, imagine hordes of these people surveilling your smart meter that dials into all your appliances, you name it, not just the water, to come in and tax you. Now you know what the smart meters are for, CBS News. And you're like, well, we're running out of water. No, you're not. Since the 70s, and I've got the news articles right here, we're going to go over them, they've not built one stinking reservoir. And then they had one up in Klamath on the Oregon border, enough to supply all of Northern California and the farmers. So that's why they turned it off. Remember a decade ago, that big fight went on for about 5 years, starting 10 years ago to about 5 years ago, and Sean Hannity would go out there. We went out there and covered it. And it was like, why for a sucker fish that isn't even indigenous are they shutting off the giant mountain reservoir? Because it was enough water to supply the farmers. You let the water run out for a while, you run those farmers off their land, you put in all the smart meters, and then you end the drought and let the water flow. You just charge everybody more for it. And that's how the scam works. And you look into who owns the different water districts in California, a handful of foreign companies, French, German, Dutch, Chinese-based. Look it up. Oh, everybody loves it. That's fake environmentalism for you. Here's a headline. MWD plans to ration water to Southland districts and cities. Southern California water wholesaler is planning to wield its powerful hammer. Oh, see, it's the water wholesaler. They're going to teach you to save. See how they're morally... Oh, Nestle and others that have a monopoly don't have to even pay. You know, Nestle doesn't pay for the water. I'm getting ready to send Joe Biggs out there. I may even go out there myself. Maybe we'll take Jakari with us. Those guys like to work together. I like to work with them. We'll go show you Nestle, because nobody cares when you show you an article. We'll show you Nestle or Nesty or whatever their name is. They get free water of the Great Lakes. They get free water California. They're going to sell you water. Well, same thing with the other big wholesalers. They're going to go, oh, we're going to stop delivery of water to you and raise prices to show you how moral we are. And you're like, oh, you're going to gouge me? Gee, thanks for teaching me to use less. Oh, don't worry. We're real moral like Enron. We will.